Hello everybody and welcome to Opera Rehearsal Room 1, which is one of our big rehearsal stages where we can, as we just said, work with almost the whole set of a production. We're rehearsing Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin. Frankly, we're a little bit nervous about showing you already what we're doing, and some of the stuff we'll be doing today we'll be doing for the very, very first time. So this is really genuinely a rehearsal. Eugene Onegin is a very, very passionate story about a young woman who falls in love with a man, writes him a letter and gets rejected, and then many years later he finds out that he actually loves her, and then she has to reject him because she got married. And we're working today on some of the earlier scenes in the opera. So we're going to first work a little bit on the very first time that Onegin and Tatyana, the two lead characters, meet. It's a nice and intimate rehearsal for me today because we just have two singers. I think I should introduce them. We have Simon Keenlyside doing Onegin, and Krassimira Stoyanova, who's doing Tatyana. I will speak English with Simon, but sometimes I'll speak German with Krassimira, we've agreed, and we're going to sing it in Russian. So this is a true image of what life is in an opera house. We have Robin Ticciati, our conductor, sitting here to help us through it. Mark Packwood is on the piano, and we'll be doing the orchestra of the Royal Opera House condensed into two hands. And my assistants are over here, stage management. So we are, for a rehearsal with two singers, a lot of people in the room. But I think we should just get started probably. Good morning. So, anyway, I want to work a little bit on the very first meeting, not the meeting in the prologue, not the meeting of the in the flashback, but the actual first meeting in the story, the two of them. So, just to try a couple of versions, because now we have the right distance and we have the right size of the doors, and I think it's such a crucial moment because I think we talked about this a little bit. I really do think in this opera it's so important to make the decision that it is love. That it's not just about a young girl being obsessed because he's interesting, or later him being obsessed with her because she's now a princess. I think we need to understand from the beginning that these are soulmates, and that is the real thing, is the one and only. In order for your rejection of her, Simon, to really be something he does actually because he cares about her, because he's insecure, because he is young and doesn't know how to handle this offering. And of course, for Tatyana to really see that when she writes this letter, it's something very, very genuine. It's not just a young girl's fantasies. And so I really want to do the first meeting as a very, very strong moment where it should be almost feel like a Romeo and Juliet moment. It should feel like one of those moments where you recognize something. I think it's about recognition. You see someone, you think like, that's him, or that's her. There's not much space for it. And obviously, we're using some music which normally is used for people to get ready and be worried about if their hair is right and how they're looking. So that's what the music really, but below I think in this music there's such passion that we can really make that work. So can we try work on that? We should have more the knowledge that Onegin is over there. Okay, thank you. Good. Let's just try. Come in later. Yes. That means, sorry, it should come to the end. Yeah. This time, Bumchi isn't about the look. This time, Bumchi is about you saying, right, here goes. So one till then. Yeah, exactly. And then, ba 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 ba. Actually, only da di da, and almost that she doesn't know you're there. So you almost surprise her with. Pisali. Yeah, exactly. So almost that you don't know that he's there. Yeah? So that du hast dich versteckt und erwartest, ist da, und plötzlich steht da. Oops, das ist peinlich, yeah? And this can make you hide away from him a little bit more for oh Bože, oh Bože, und wirst fast hierhin gehen, ja, von ihm weg. Try, Simon. The first walk across, try to make it slightly slower, that it's not something you're looking forward to. So think about, and you can even be rereading the letter in walking in. I know that that's not probably what he would be doing, but again, in her recollection, what he came to do was this. Let's try it at least. You know, we can see whether, or you know, at least having it here and thinking about what you're going to do with it would be interesting, I think.
And yes, of course, when he actually does come to talk about it, it's the most unprepared.
Well, exactly. Well, exactly. Although there is something honest at the core of it. There's something honest about him saying, I wish I had the courage to do this. I mean, I think that's, as we talked about, it's interesting that he maybe actually, in a strange way, does it from a noble motive, because he actually is interested. Can we try that the second entrance? Try to come in slightly later. So go after Shaggy. What's the next word after Shaggy? Shoblige. And then after Shoblige. Okay, Sarah? And then let's try that when you come in, that someone has told you she's over here, but you don't, it's not as direct.
So then how will I know?
I will show you. You will come in, and I'll make sure that from here that you can just see Krassimira just as she hides away.
All right.
And that means you say, well, there she is. Okay. And then you go here, and then actually you stop yourself here. Okay. So you work going, so that this walk is, you were going to walk in, and then you say, fucking hell. Okay. Yeah? And here, Simon, and again, this might be too much a cliche, but I would just like to try, again, it's about in this memory idea to highlight some of the moments, to draw them out slightly, which means that this stop should not be completely naturalistic. It should be stopping here, think about this letter, maybe even reread it and feel it before you say, it won't do. Can we try that? Directly on that. Try maybe even, Simon, if we can try I think the should come just before that music though, but we'll do that when we link it up. And then try maybe even to have a step in here and then sense where is she and then we go around, yeah? But otherwise, very good. I still think, don't...
I like the first thing I say to be away from her.
Yes.
Because I too am having a hard time
and
saying
that communicated very clearly. But don't take the letter. That will come later in the aria. But I think it's good for you to offer it, if you will, but for her it's just like, ich will nur nicht daran denken. And for you to have it during that whole first thing, because you're saying, actually, this is very beautifully written. You've told me something honest. And then only maybe with premiches, what is it you say? Exactly, when you say, actually, you should hear my confession as well. That's maybe a moment to offer it. And she doesn't take it. But I think there's something nice also for him, because he is slightly awkward, so it's nice for him to be able to hide in the letter. You know, if you're having to have an awkward conversation, you want to hide behind having something to read or something to do. So that keeps you free so that you can leave her there, that you don't have to take her out. I would really like her to stay there for now, just completely in stasis.
Yeah, it's interesting, the awkwardness, isn't it? Because he, all the way walking from wherever he's come, he's had this time to prepare whatever he's going to say.
Yes,
but when he does say something, it's so clumsy,
we should still remember he's young. He's a young man, and we should never forget that he's innocent. He's innocent. Yeah, exactly. He's innocent in a strange way too, you know. And that innocence is what makes him pretend that he knows about these things, and maybe he knows more about love games than her, for sure.
But she's not a showgirl.
But emotions, he's actually just as innocent as her, and he's finding his way in this too. And so I think there's a good thing about being able to hide behind the letter and say, well, you wrote me this. It's really honest. You know, I like it, and you know, I should tell you something about me. And that's when it gets awkward for him, yeah? So let's try that. And for you, it's just, And when he then offers, and don't offer it to her before premieres, when you say, take my confession to here, and that's when she says, I don't want the letter, I don't want your confession, I just want to die. And walks around, yeah, and just say, just please leave me alone. And when she does that, that's the moment where you feel like, oh no, I didn't, I'm sorry. Let's do that one more time. Just try, I'm gonna push you on this, and we can always take it away. But what happens if it's brighter in feeling, more with a smile, if it's trying to be, again, because he's awkward about it, it's trying to be, you wrote me a letter, you know, or at least when you go on, it's beautiful, I really like it. You know, if you're trying to be a bit too positive.
Yeah.
Well, there will come moments soon where it becomes very sensitive and very, but if he's trying to be upbeat about it. Can we try that? Let's try and push it and see how far we can go. We can always take it away again. Okay, еще раз. Just from your moment there, Simon, just when you say, just the same thing, just before your music. Okay. Yeah, see, that's good. Much better. I would love to try once a version where Vrimye Pisali even was with a laugh, because she's looking the other way. So you're saying, oh, I'm here, hello. Right. Does it make sense? I mean, just you see what I'm getting at. He's hiding behind, he's hiding behind being playful and more strong than he is. Let's just try it. And then the other thing I would like to try is try that you can't look at her at all.
Yeah.
Try if you can't look at her, so take more space. She's locked. Krassimira is da ganz versteinert. But that you can't quite, so that you can try to look at, but it's awkward. So use the letter instead and take your space if you want to, you know, come in and let's see that you can't really look her in the eye. Maybe until you say, please take also my confession, then you try to pull yourself together and then she goes away. And when she goes away, I just think that moment when you offer the confession, yeah? It's nice that the whole first thing is, you know, like now it's kind of relaxed and whatever. But I think when you say, Primices, exactly. What you're saying is, I will also confess to you now. If he really meant that, if he really is going to tell her something that he is not sharing with other people, maybe I'm incapable of loving.
Doesn't ring true, does it?
Well, but he's 23. I mean, what do you know about yourself when you're 23? You know, you think he might be thinking, maybe I'm not capable of loving, and that's why I'm.
But also, 23 is just as like to be. Avoid confrontation.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't want to be with her, and he's finding a way of saying that too.
But the question is whether he actually doesn't want to be with her.
Well, I'll do whatever you say.
No, it's fine. This is a really interesting and important discussion.
I'm treading on that first advice thinly, because I find that trouble is with singers, we sometimes hide behind what we see as the musical direction, and we're often wrong. Yeah. But I feel as we may be saying, yes. You're absolutely right, and I'm not going to do that thing I've just said that singers do. But it sucks me into thinking it's quite brusque, and then you see the effect it has and pull back and go, no, look, I didn't mean any harm by that. I don't mean to hurt you.
Okay.
But I want to do what you want me to do.
All I want to is to try it.
Yeah.
And to see what it does, because it's quite different from how you normally see Onegin coming in
quite.
here.
That's why
but I think, although I understand aggressiveness of the phrase musically.
Not aggressive.
Yeah, no, but the phrase is written a bit brusque, you know, in contrast to her emotional fragility. And I would like for that not to be a man who comes in and say, "You wrote me a letter. Let's not deny it."
And your laugh would work just as well as making her shrivel.
Exactly. That musical energy. Yeah, exactly. It's almost even more embarrassing. And that. But then let me just say, if the whole thing's through, just think two things. I can't look her in the eye, and think that actually, what you want to get to is, I will tell you about me. So that's what he's getting to. That's why he's going in circles. That's why he's talking about everything else. Because what he really wants to tell her is, I want to give you my confession. That's the moment you've been building up to. That's what you're avoiding until that point where you say, actually, I'm going to tell you something about myself that I haven't told anybody. Lenski doesn't know this. Nobody else knows this. But
He's gay.
Yeah, no, that's in Munich. We've done that. We've done that. No, but if what he wants to confess, if what he thinks he wants to confess is, I would like to love you. Let's take what's written there literally. I would like to love you, but I'm afraid I can't, and I would destroy you because I destroy things. I make girls unhappy. I'm afraid of myself. If that was sincere, that's what he thinks about himself, and he actually has never told anybody, so that this scene is as fragile for him as for her. Instead of him coming with the manners of the world and telling her what life is about, for once he's actually being really honest. Could we try that? I think that's what I'm trying to see, that he's hiding behind all this. Let's try it again. Okay, еще раз. So just also to say, I mean, it's what we were talking about is that phrase, that of course it has energy. I would like to be playful, you know, almost with as if he's making a joke, yeah? Еще раз. Thank you. Much better in that direction. We should have the tea break now, I'm told. So it's time for the tea break. Let's take 15 minutes. Thank you. We will continue working with this. It's very interesting.
My job ought to be to try and help realise what the director wants. Now,
you bring a lot of it.
Well, of course, the truth is that every singer will come with a big box of toys, to put it bluntly. And I've done this lots of times, and you come to conclusions. But if you possibly can, and if you respect your director and your friend, then you try to push that out and try to do what he is asking of you. Right. The trouble is, of course, when you've been thinking about something, you come to work and you're in front of all these people and cameras, you want to do something, and when your director says, well, actually, I'd like to try something else.
I mean, don't look at or turn away. It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
But you've held off from doing Onegin, and yet, I think it's really interesting as a child, well, not as a child, but as a teenager, you learn
Tatyana's
Russian.
age.
You learn Russian to read Pushkin.
Yeah, I saw Onegin, the opera, and I so identified Tatyana
but you're only ready to do it now.
And falling in love.
Why are you only ready to do it now?
Because there's some pieces that you love so much that you kind of shy away from until you feel you've got an idea or it feels right. And it's one of the pieces I didn't want to do. Actually, sometimes
you wanted to wait till you got here.
You know what? Sometimes it's easier for a director to do a piece that you actually don't like because it makes you work hard. But the pieces that you really love, that once you start working on, this is when I'm going to do my
you're going to do it, and it's got to be the right one because this is a new production.
Yeah, but you know.
Now we've got a question, but I want from one of our Twitter feed. But I want to set this up by asking you why it's sung in Russian, and you made a big decision to have it sung in Russian, obviously with subtitles.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way, singing in Russian with subtitles, we get the best of both worlds. These are beautiful words taken straight from Pushkin, and they're clearly what Tchaikovsky put in music. So you get the beauty of the Russian language, you get the integrity of the music and the words being done together as they were meant. Yet people can follow what's happening word by word. And actually, when you sing in English, often words get lost. So I think this is the best of both worlds.
But we have here...
But it's hard for the singers.
Well, I was going to say, because we have a Twitter question from Josie from London. How many singers who are in Eugene Onegin can actually already speak Russian before rehearsals begin? I mean, I imagine that's very few.
Good question, good question. Every singer, when you start out, will struggle in this great ocean, this morass of languages, which at first they don't speak. By and large, every singer will speak all the languages that they're working in. I don't speak Russian, so it's the only role for me that I really need a lot of help. I get a great deal of help from Sasha. I've done the piece many times and had many other coaches to help me. It's not a comfortable feeling, and But you know, imagine the scales of justice. On the one hand is your uncomfortableness in doing a project, whether it be a language or songs you barely sing. On the other hand is your passion for the art form and the piece. If one outweighs the other, you just get on with it.
And we're going to be seeing Sasha in action later, but just on that question though, you don't speak Russian, I wonder, because for singers, you know, you need to know the work intimately, don't you? And it's getting that emotional point when you don't quite know the language.
Well, I know what I'm saying and I know what's being said to me.